What's up and welcome into a Friday Locked on Bulls. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. Up ahead on today's program, we've got a lot to get to. Reacting to the big night at the United Center on Thursday, Joakim Noah's homecoming night, an epic Bulls rally that falls just short against the Knicks as they hand the Bulls their first loss of the season, and the breaking news from earlier today that the Bulls expect to miss Patrick Williams for the remainder of the season with a dislocated wrist. That's a lot to get to. We're going to do it all on Fresh Locked on Bulls. Let's go.
You are Locked on Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. Here are your hosts, Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson.
What's up and welcome into Locked on Bulls, part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my co-host Big Dave at BAW, BAWL Sports, and you can follow us at Locked on Bulls. You can also shoot us a text or leave us a voicemail at 331-979-1369. Okay. Wow. Dave, I don't know about you, but I am emotionally and mentally drained after the last 24 hours. We're recording this Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Bulls Knicks was epic.
It was.
So close to an awesome comeback. The Joakim Noah festivities all throughout the night, and then just the devastating news from earlier today. Let's start there because this is breaking news. Earlier today, Adrian Wojnarowski of ESPN tweeting, Chicago Bulls forward Patrick Williams is expected to miss the rest of the regular season with a left wrist dislocation. He will undergo surgery soon. Big Dave, talk me off the ledge because I'm struggling right now.
Yeah, well, you know I'm gonna give you the real, and then I'm gonna give you the love. So let me give you the real first. This sucks. This is terrible. This sucks. And you just feel so bad for him, just because of how the season kind of started for him. You know, dealing with the sprained ankle, then getting the shoulder, and then now, you know, just getting put out for the entire season. He went from never dealing with injuries ever, you know, in his very, very, you know, young life, to now getting the worst case scenario of it in a matter of weeks. And that's just tough, man. And it just sucks for him because you saw it in that Knicks game though, Matt. Like you saw him getting his bearings, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of getting his feet under him with the certain moves he was making. Like even after, and I think the injury happened on that dunk that when Robinson, you know, basically smacked him in the face and kind of hooked his arm and he went down on his wrist like that. He still stayed in the game and he still kept playing and
knocked
he was
down free throws.
Yeah, exactly. Like he was contributing on both ends. And I just remember the run where he got the ball on the baseline, pump fake the three, spun, went up with a jump hook, all net, comes down, blocks alley-oop attempt, you know what I'm saying? And then starts to break again for the Bulls. And then he actually took a very confident mid-range jump shot, all net. Like you saw all that in the second quarter. And you saw him getting his bearings under him. You saw those flashes happening. And so for, you know, it went from like wrist soreness, you know what I mean, to just like, yeah, he's done. And man, it just sucks. Like it sucks so hard. And you think about it. I mean, honestly, for me, Matt, it's just for him that I'm thinking about. I'll get to the team stuff in a minute. But for him, it just really, really sucks because you just really like him. You know what I'm saying? Just as a person, just, you know, just that removing basketball from it. You just want nice things to happen to nice people kind of thing. Right. You know what I'm saying? And when these things happen to him, it just really hurts. And that's how you are like you are today because you feel the devastation of it.
It's such a damper on the excitement that was around this team to start this new season. Yeah. So, you know, selfishly, that's how I feel. That's how I think a lot of Bulls fans feel right now. But you're right. The person who this sucks the most for is Patrick Williams. who was already 4 games in getting, taking arrows from every direction from Bulls fans and media being like,
Yes, he
you're not
was.
doing enough. You're
Yes,
not
he
doing
was.
enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, guys, he's 20 years old. He's 4 games into his second season. He has had 0 training camp in either of his first 2 NBA seasons as this like man child. Can we maybe give him the benefit of the doubt for progressing in year 2 and judging him after the next 82 games instead of 4? Now we don't get that, and he doesn't get that. And that really, really stinks. But hey, bright side, now we can look forward to the column that Joe Cowley writes that, he asks Patrick Williams about rehabbing from this broken wrist. And then he tells Patrick Williams to stop talking about it and show him something. So, every cloud has a silver lining. What's up, Joe? Look, it's hard to contemplate where the team goes from here. The obvious answer, as we now look to what next, Javonte Green, who started in his absence in preseason and is I think a useful tool with that other starting 4 of the starting 5 because he's a low usage guy offensively, doesn't need the ball, could occasionally knock down a 3-pointer in the corner as we have seen him do once or twice this season. But more so than that, will just be a disruptor defensively to help that first unit defensively. I'm okay with that. Donovan, of course, after the Williams news broke, was taking questions from the media, and he said, as far as options, I think Derek Jones Jr., Javonte, obviously Alex. We've played smaller with 4 guards. A lot is going to be teams and matchups. I thought Lonzo, when we were small, did a pretty good job on Randall, made his post-ups difficult. All those are viable options. I remember looking to you while we were at the UC last night after one of those Lonzo D-ups on Randall, being like, did you see Lonzo D-up Randall?
Yeah.
But big picture-wise, there are options, but they are all small ball options, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, let's get the obvious part out the way. This is going to really impact your size and your rebounding going forward. Like, that is obvious, all right? You don't have a bandage for that, okay? So now it's just about, trying to, like, plug and play kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, getting minutes. It's kind of a position by committee now. Because I don't think anybody is going to just be like, you know what? That's it. He's the starting 4 going forward. I think it's going to be game by game. But honestly, Matt, like, and the only positive I'll give you on this is what you just mentioned is the Bulls have played without Patrick Williams for these first 4 preseason games and had some success. So I'm saying that to say that it's not unfamiliar for them to play without him, but of course it's going to suck. And of course that was preseason. We get that. But it's not unfamiliar for them to play with Javonte Green out there on the floor. And you're right, Matt. He's a disruptor. He's an irritant. He's a demolition man. It's like 5 Javonte Greens, as Stacey likes to say. But then, Derek Jones Jr. was definitely somebody I thought of immediately.
Who has basically seen no action this season.
0. Really has seen no action. We had a Tony Bradley sighting, which was crazy. So yeah, but those guys, and of course, the 4-guard lineup with Caruso that they run. And remember, they did this run yesterday in this Knicks game without Patrick Williams, because he was out, for like that majority of the second half. He did not play. So they made a lot of this run just with good coaching and good decision making and high IQ basketball and actually knocking down shots and things like that without Patrick Williams. I'm not going to say the Bulls like, oh man, we're going to be great moving forward after this. But I am going to put my trust in the coaching staff. Billy Donovan gets paid a nice salary. He knows what he's doing. They'll make some nice moves, Matt. Honestly, I really believe that. I think they'll make some nice moves as far as who they'll put in that position to play power forward with who they have on the team already. I think Billy Donovan kind of is already cooking up some things for us, depending on who they're going to play. But yes, it's going to be a huge hole, a colossal hole that you have to fill. We get that, but we could still manage. I think we could still manage a little bit.
Yeah, there are some options within the roster, and then I also want to talk about potentially what some Bulls fans are already talking about, which is, can you make an adjustment to this roster to help make up for the Williams injury and this lack of size that we are seeing become glaringly apparent through the first 5 games. So we'll touch on that next before getting to the actual game and the Joakim stuff. But first, Big Dave, if any of our listeners out there are hungry this weekend and looking for a delicious bite to eat at great costs in a friendly atmosphere, where might they turn to?
I love when you ask me these questions, Matt. It's like you're in my brain. This is exactly what I wanted to talk about here.
I would kill a man for a double cheeseburger from Mickey D's right now.
Luckily, you don't have to because it's affordable and you can get it yourself. You'll be okay. You know, yesterday when we did the Bulls game, Matt, had a fan of the show come up to me and say, you know what? I was listening to you talk about McDonald's, and I had to pull over and start laughing, and then I went to McDonald's. So, yes, I'm telling you people, it works because I know what I'm talking about here. We're talking about McDonald's. You know what was great about McDonald's when I was young, Matt? I remember when my mother would be driving home and we had a McDonald's like not far from our house. And every day she drove by that McDonald's, it was hope for me. Every day. We didn't stop in there every day, but every day I was like, man, maybe we stop in there. No, maybe we stop in there. No, maybe stop. And then when she would pull in there, man, yeah, the excitement, the joy that you would have because you knew you were about to enjoy some delicious McDonald's. Going inside the store was also just the setup with the slides, you know, seeing all the kids that were in there, man. It was just, McDonald's has just always been that kind of place. From whether you're young or whether you're old, man. And I know I'm not the only one here, man. I know I'm not alone in here. So what I want you to do is head to your local McDonald's to refuel and reconnect. Because I promise you, you will enjoy yourself. And that's on me. And like I say all the time, when you get there, say my name. You're going to have to pay for it, but still say my name. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Double cheeseburger.
Yeah, hi. I listen to Big Dave's podcast. Can I get some free French fries or something? Oh my goodness. All right, so I want to add a little bit more context to this Patrick Williams stuff as far as what the team might look to do. So here is this update from Bobby Marks, who is, ESPN's NBA capologist, who said for Chicago to be granted a disabled player exception, which would be $3.7 million, the league would need to deem Williams out until mid-June. So you're talking like the finals or the finals are over.
Right.
Chicago is $3 million below the luxury tax currently and would need to waive a player in order to open up a roster spot. Because we did, after training camp and the battles in preseason, learn that Matt Thomas did in fact get that 15th and final roster spot.
Yes.
So based on where we are now, that disabled player exception is possible, but we also, after Woj's initial tweet saying out for season, the Bulls issued their own injury update saying reevaluated in 4 to 6 months. Timetable 4 to 6 months. If it's the front end of that, and, this is a guy, Patrick Williams, who we all thought was going to miss all of preseason and maybe some of the beginning of the regular season with his ankle. But, he's a young Wolverine, and he was like, yeah, coach, I can play preseason if you need me to. Maybe, knock on wood, a similar timeline exists here. And then you're talking November, December, January, February. That's 4 months. Like, he could be back before the regular season is over.
Yes.
If that's the case, the Bulls would not be eligible for that disabled player exception. The other piece they do have in this puzzle is that trade exception they got from the deal that sent Daniel Tice to Houston this offseason. So there is some wiggle room here. But as Mark said, they have a full roster of 15 right now. And Big Dave, this is the thing that's, kind of already jumbled my brain. There are Bulls fans on Twitter reacting to Patrick Williams' injury saying, Coby White's our best trade piece. Use him in a trade to go get some more help for your front court because we're getting crushed inside every night. We're getting out-rebounded every night. And there are some people on Bulls Twitter saying, trade Coby White over my dead body. Because, of course, Bulls fans agree on everything all the time. What are your thoughts here when it comes to, okay, Patrick Williams' injury, therefore, Bulls do this next?
Well, first, no, don't trade Coby White because I promise you, okay, if you're talking about trading Coby White and getting someone, then when the second unit comes in, you're going to be complaining about that immediately, like you are now. Because as Matt has seen these numbers, because the young GOAT himself Rob Schaefer broke down those numbers and
Shout out
showed
Rob.
me exactly what the Bulls' second unit looks like when it comes to scoring. And Matt, if you have those numbers, please read them for the people.
Oh, it's pulled up on my phone right now. Here we go. Shout out to Rob Schaefer. The Bulls benched for their first 5 games. Points per game, 24.2, 28th in the NBA. 3-pointers made by the bench per game, 2.8, tied for 28th in the NBA. 3-point attempts per game by the Bulls bench, 6, dead last in the NBA. And people are eager to trade Coby White. Why?
This is exactly what I'm talking about here. Guys, don't do it. All right. Don't trade Coby White. All right. I can't wait for him to get back because you see the dividends he is going to pay immediately. You'll see immediately. But as far as what they want to do now, as far as now that Patrick Williams is going, I had some friends say, maybe they should look at Boogie Cousins. And I'm like, no, I definitely don't want him.
We were talking about Bagley on a voicemail topic earlier this week, and Bagley's name kept cropping up again today. Bulls said, hey, get some depth. The Kings want to get rid of him anyway.
That's exactly where I was going next, was Bagley. And now you have to look at that legitimately now. Honestly, you do. You have to look at it legitimately. He wants out. I believe he has 1 year left on his deal. Like after this year, I believe he's a free agent. I could be wrong about that. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But you have a need right now that might need to be filled. And you have a guy who is not happy in his situation, but also wants to start. And now he'll actually have an opportunity to start. And that was the reason when I was on Locked On Kings, I was like, well, I don't think it'll work here for the Bulls because there's no room for him to start. Well, now there's room for him to actually compete and to actually start on this team and have a chance to get in. There are a lot of things that's going to have to change about him mentally, I think. I just like how this team is together, Matt, because they really do play for each other and they really do care about each other. And so I want to see if Marvin is going to fit in with that. I don't know him well enough to say if he will or not. I really don't. But you have to look at it now. It is a possibility and something you definitely have to look at now because you have a need now. And I don't know how long you can roll with 4-guard lineups and, roll with Javonte Green or how good Derrick Jones Jr. will be in that position or even Alize Johnson getting a shot at that 4. We don't know, what I'm saying, what it will be like. We might even look back at Stanley Johnson, who they cut. They might even go there and look at him. But, yeah, Matt, it's a lot of options. But, again, my thing ain't changed, Matt. I still trust AK. I still trust Eversley. And I still trust Billy Donovan. So whatever needs to get done, I'm sure will get done properly.
Man, this kind of makes me remember this summer when we were talking about Paul Millsap, hey, Paul Millsap's still out there.
Yeah.
Paul Millsap's still out there. Goes to Brooklyn because of course. So to clarify Bagley and his contract situation, playing on the final year of his rookie deal, $11.3 million this year. So will be a restricted free agent in the summer of 2022 with a qualifying offer for the 22-23 season at $14.7 million. So, I still think I am where I was before this Patrick Williams injury news on Bagley, which is I do not trust his health and availability. The guy's missed half his NBA potential, playing time thus far through his first, first contract of his NBA season or career. I know that there is a glaring hole when it comes to this Bulls front court now. And we'll get to that in just a minute when we start actually talking about this game that was played last night between the Bulls and the Knicks. But that lack of bench scoring is my big concern right now. Scoring wins you NBA games. And yes, size is an issue. But you know who plays a lot of small lineups these days? Every NBA team that's out there. If the Bulls and Donovan, with his coaching system, can find ways to score points and win with taking their lack of size and putting it into, okay, this is how we're going to adapt to this. This is how we're going to make up for this. To me, bench production, bigger problem right now than Patrick Williams out. What do we do?
That's an interesting way to look at it, man, because you're right. because you've seen the success that the Bulls have had at the 4, like he mentioned with Javonte Green, or even running with Caruso in that 4-guard lineup and things like that. What we haven't seen is them have the success scoring the basketball in the second unit. So no, he's absolutely right on that point. It's a concern, Matt, but it's so weird because I'm like, we're concerned about it, but we have the medicine for it and we have the remedy for it. It's just not ready to go yet. You know what I'm saying? It's not, it's like, you know, the medicine when it's in the trial periods. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need it now. They're still testing it. It's not FDA approved yet. You know what I'm saying? We're just waiting for it to be approved and ready to go, man. But it's still an issue right now. You're absolutely right.
All right. Before we peddle some more products your way, just one thing I want to float at you, Dave, that just occurred to me. Okay. A lot of Bulls fans in my mentions today after this news saying, like, why always us? Why does this stuff always happen to us? The Bulls, when it comes to injuries, are freaking cursed. Despite the fact that he was relieved of his duties by the new front office, do you know who was in the United Center last night?
Yes, Matt. I know who was in the United Center last night.
With a bunch of his former teammates / friends / patients in Joakim Noah's party. Because Jeff Tanaka was there.
Tanaka! This is not a coincidence. You got Tanaka there, and guess who's on NBA TV on the same damn night? The bald-headed menace is on NBA TV the same damn night. This is not a coincidence. They were trying to set us up for the okie doke. They tried, and they succeeded. Oh, I'm telling you, man, they're not allowed anywhere near this team. Get away. Shoo. Go away. Get out of here. Oh, damn it.
Oh, my goodness. It's like John Lithgow yelling at Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. We don't want you here. Oh, my God. It's like, hey, if Jim wants to be on a NBA TV studio set somewhere that's not anywhere near the United Center or the Advocate Center, great. Wonderful. How did they let Tanaka into the building last night? How?
Why was he there? Why was he there? You're not allowed in here anymore. Go away. This is not your home. Go to your home. Oh, yeah, Matt. Yes, I'm all about that conspiracy theory right there. I am all about it.
That just turned my insides inside out. I did not like that at all.
See what you just did to me?
You know what never turns my insides inside out is Built Bars. They're actually very delicious, and they're good for you.
Nice.
Go to Built.com. Go to Built.com a few days a week and check out what is there and available, because you always have those amazing OG flavors there for you, like coconut and cherry barcia, salted caramel, German chocolate, cookies and cream. But there's also always limited time available flavors at the top of their website, Built.com, every week, and there's something new. They still have that paranormal pumpkin holiday season Built Bar flavor available. And I think as of yesterday or today, there is a new, are you ready for this, Dave? Mystery Built Bar flavor. Mystery Built Bar. How do you stay away from that? I mean, it's like Peter Griffin of a boat's a boat, but the mystery box can be anything. It can even be a boat. The mystery flavored Built Bar, who knows? It might be a boat. But I guarantee you what it does taste like. I guarantee it tastes like a candy bar that's covered in chocolate. Delicious chocolate. So go check out the mystery flavor of Built Bars. Check out one of those paranormal pumpkin Built Bars, because you're getting 17 or 18 grams of protein in every bar, only 130 to 180 calories, only 4 or 5 grams of sugar, and 4 or 5 grams of net carbs. It's a no-brainer, people. So go to Built.com today, any day of the week, and use promo code LOCKED15 to get 15% off your order each and every time you order. LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com.
Oh, you know what it is, guys. It's your favorite time. It's Matt's favorite thing to do, and that is bet on sports. All right? And
you're going to say sleep or eat Italian beefs, but yeah, that's a close third.
Oh, it's right there, sir, and you know it. You love it. And the place he loves to do it at is Bet Online, because they are back and better than ever with that new web interface for the start of this basketball season. More props, more odds, and lines than ever before. Bet Online remains your #1 spot for all basketball and football action this season. So head on over to that new website or that get your mobile device and do it that way. Sign up today, and what you will receive just for signing up today is a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. You heard me? All right. Oh, and please use that promo code Locked On to receive your bonus. Basketball, football, baseball in the World Series, the NHL, boxing, UFC, tennis, handball, whatever you want, your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait. Take advantage of all the amazing offers available for this 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Sports. Tanaka.
All right, so let's talk about this game a little bit last night. Obviously, Dave, another not great shooting night for the Bulls. They shoot just 42.9% from the field, 36 of 84. Make up for that by going 20 of 22 from the free throw line. If we're being honest, they probably should have had closer to 30 free throw attempts. You and I and a lot of the people we were watching that game with at the UC last night were not too pleased with the officiating. Certainly seemed like they were giving the Knicks the benefit of the calls, and we were confused. We were like, are we at the Garden? What's going on here? But what we were just talking about and the effect of Patrick Williams going down, once again, the Bulls getting exposed interior. The Bulls out-rebounded 49-37 against the Knicks last night, and the Knicks beat them by 10 in that points in the paint category. So boards and points in the paint, we're sensing a theme here. We're sensing a trend, and it, didn't need to be a detective or a scientist to figure that one out when you looked at the Bulls roster getting ready for the season. You're like, a lot of talent, a lot of length, not a lot of size.
Yeah.
Was that your biggest takeaway? Those areas where the Bulls got beat, or what was it for you last night that was the deciding factor?
Deciding factor for why they lost.
Other than DeMar DeRozan missing, the potential game winner, that was important too.
Getting off to I would say that slow start definitely hurt them. And that first quarter, the Knicks were on fire from the 3-point line. Kemba Walker, man. Oh man, he was in some big old threes, and I mean some tough shots. I wasn't even mad at the defense, Matt, because the shots they were hitting were really defended and very well defended. Hand in the face. It's how you teach it. He just was knocking them down. They were just knocking them down. They even played well against Julius Randle. He had 13 points, but like Matt said, Julius Randle had 16 rebounds and he had 9 assists. So he was an assist away from a triple-double, even though he only had those 13 points. The rebounding definitely is the issue, and it's going to be the issue moving forward for this team, unless, they make another move or something to get another rebounder in here. It's going to be an issue. It's what it is. We know what it is. But for me, Matt, it just came up short. Even though that's the case, it still just came up short because with all that said, they still had the ball in the last seconds with a chance to win the basketball game. With all of that said, and the shot just didn't make it, and he missed the shot. A lot of people felt like he should have gave it to Zach and let Zach, attack Fournier, which I agree with. But at the same time, I'm not mad at DeMar DeRozan because it's DeMar DeRozan shooting the last second shot. So I'm not upset at that either. I love the fight of this team, Matt. I actually was really, really proud of them and how they played because of how they came back and how they fought back and willed themselves and used, they used what they had, to get what they wanted and almost get it all. And I was very proud of them. But to answer your question, yes, that rebounding, Matt, and that hot start for the Knicks, I think is what did it.
Yeah, you mentioned Kemba's night. 5 of 6 from downtown on the way to 21 points. Barrett had 24 of them as well. Our guy D Rose had a double-digit night off the bench for New York. The bench scoring in this one was actually not as bad as the discrepancy had been in recent games. I believe it was 31-24 in favor of the Knicks as far as bench scoring. When it comes to that last shot, though, because that's, of course, what a lot of Bulls fans will be thinking about, that last play, the Bulls, and kudos to them. Big Dave, it was, I think, a couple of Randle free throws that made it 104-91 with
Right.
2:59 left. The Bulls are down 13 with under 3 minutes to go, and then they finished the game on a 12-0 run.
Amazing.
The Knicks did not score after that. It was just the Bulls needed one more bucket on that run. But so Zach LaVine is handling inbounds pass duties, and the way that play was set up, it looked to me sort of like a basketball RPO. Like it looked.
Oh,
like
I love how you in my brain.
It was like it looked like it could have been a dribble handoff. After Zach makes that inbounds pass to DeMar curling around the screen, and then maybe sort of like a reverse screen where he just pitches the ball right back to Zach, who maybe makes a beeline for the paint, tries to get a layup, tries to get fouled, because it looked like there wasn't enough time on the clock for maybe Zach to try to attack if DeMar pitched the ball back to him, because DeMar pump faked, then went up, and by the time the ball missed and went past the basket, there were still, tenths of a second hanging on the clock. What did you think about that last sequence?
First of all, I just love when you're in my brain like that. That is literally what I was sitting there thinking. That's why I screamed. I was sitting there like, that's like an RPO play. And you said it. I said, oh my God, this is insane. It's insane. All right. Secondly, the more I can see you actually show me your shooting form, the more I want to see that more and more and more all the time. Chris Dunn. See? You see what I mean? In the same brain, ladies and gentlemen. The same damn brain. Oh my God, it's terrible. It's ridiculous. I watched Will Perdue and Kendall Gill and Jason Goff post-game show today. I watched it today. Great show. It was really, I love when Will pulls out the paper and turns into the professor. You know what I'm saying? And breaks down the game, because he is a master at breaking down basketball games. And he talked about that play, and he said on that, what you're taught is when the guy who's defending you goes under the screen, you give that ball back. That's usually how it's taught. And the guy went under the screen, but DeMar DeRozan, thought he had an angle, so he didn't give it back, and he went and he tried to take that shot. Like I said, I wanted Zach to be the one to have that. It just felt like, Zach should have. It just felt like the play was for him to do his thing. But again, I didn't have a problem with DeMar shooting it, Matt. I really, truly did not have a problem with it, because it's DeMar DeRozan. I've watched him do that his whole career, hit those big old buckets. You know who else didn't have that issue? Zach LaVine. Because if you watch that play, you watch Zach LaVine, his hands in there like this when it went up.
Like, oh, that's cash money.
Right.
He thought he made it.
Right. He just thought it was good. You know what I'm saying? And so I like seeing that.
Zach's relieved to have another teammate who can take those last second close game situations off of his shoulders every once in a while. Because the past several years has been like, okay, which Zach is this going to? Is it going to Zach, or Zach? Because it's going to Zach. And why did the Bulls not win a lot of close games and get big buckets late when they needed to? Because every opponent's defense was like, okay, so we're quintuple teaming Zach LaVine. Is that the plan here?
That's it, guys. Everybody. All right.
And some nights it'll be like, and Zach and DeMar have said this, and Vooch, it's like whoever's got the hot hand will ride that person. Whoever's got the hot hand that quarter will ride that. Before DeMar took that final shot, you want to know what his numbers and Zach's numbers were shooting wise so far through that game? An identical 7 of 17.
Wow.
DeMar and Zach each 7 of 17 before DeMar took that final shot. So it's not like either of them were having a great shooting night. In fact, they were having an identically bad shooting night. Whoever has a good look, take the good luck. Would I maybe like to just, go back in time and see the play out the other way where Zach gets the ball back? Yes, of course.
Sure.
Yes, of course, because, curiosity is curiosity. But, I don't have a huge issue with DeMar DeRozan taking that mid-range shot, because that's what he does.
Yeah, it's what he does, and he has a career built up on it and a resume built up on it. And it wasn't a bad basketball play. He even tried to do that patented pump fake because he was trying to draw the foul as well, because that's exactly how he draws those fouls. But kudos to the Knicks for not biting on the pump fake, and kudos to them because when he went over there, he also brought himself over to another defender. So, two defenders, were able to, kind of bother him and get in his face. And DeMar after the game was like, no, I had a good look. Like, that was, I had it just how I wanted to shoot that basketball. I missed. So, you move on. And I loved how he spoke about it, Matt. He said it just made him more hungry. It like really wants to win hard for this team. Like I said, guys are playing for each other. And I love how he's like, okay, I missed. Let's go to the next one. Let's get back. There doesn't seem to be any dissension, among the guys or anything like that. And one more thing, because you touched on it about Zach LaVine having help. What I've noticed in these post games now, who I haven't seen in a couple games? Zach LaVine. When's the last time you can say that? When Zach LaVine isn't in the post game taking all the damn questions after the game. Now he can say, I don't want to. It's okay, guys. I got DeMar and Lonzo who can actually go out there and talk while I get dressed and do what I need to do to get my head ready for the next game. It's so awesome that Zach has his help, man. And you're seeing it on the floor. And it's just great to see. I just thought that was a really great thing.
Yeah, it was. You mentioned Lonzo, 1 of 6 from downtown, 6 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Kind of a blah game for Lonzo.
Yeah.
But moving on to just touching on this quickly before we get out of here. Who was clearly proud of the fact that Bulls team refused to quit when they were down double digits with 3 minutes to go? Because who was loving that was Joakim Noah.
You got that right.
That dude never thought the Bulls were out of a game. Ever. And man, you and I, like the electricity in the UC when the Bulls were making that late rally, like when Vooch hit that 3 and I think it cut the lead down to like 4 or 5 and the place went nuts. Mitchell or no, was it Randall or Robinson who missed both of those free throws?
Randall. That was Randall.
Right. I mean, like 2 missed free throws. The Bulls get the rebound. The UC's going nuts. I mean, I can't imagine if DeMar had made that shot, buzzer beater, Bulls, like the roof would have blown off the place,
exploded.
But you have to imagine that Joakim was sitting there watching that furious late game comeback, being like, "Yeah, this is a Bulls team that I can be happy cheering for because those guys showed no quit when they were down big late in the game."
And now Joakim Noah, he got his ceremonial signing with the Bulls so he can retire a Bull. And now he is named an ambassador for the Chicago Bulls. So guess what? There's going to be more Joakim Noah at the game. And who's going to be happy about that is this young man over here. Because I'm telling you, when that man came on the screen, guys, Matthew Peck he was focused. My man was focused.
Voice is a little hoarse today. And so there were 2 Knicks fans sitting next to me and Big Dave.
There were. Shout
out to our Knicks fans friends. But, we had a couple of friendly banter and back and forth trash talk. Like nothing.
Absolutely.
But as they are doing this big Joakim, here's his resume. Joakim Night, welcome back. We love you. And then they put Joakim on the Jumbotron. This Knicks couple next to us are like, oh, man, waste of money in New York. That guy sucks. And I was like, I'm going to need you to shut up right now. I know we're strangers and you're my elders, and I'm not trying to pick a fight right now, but I need you to shut up immediately and let me have this.
I didn't even hear that. I'm kind of glad I didn't hear that because it would have been a conversation, not a mean conversation, just telling them what Joakim Noah meant to Chicago kind of thing, and who this person was sitting next to them, right. and how he feels about.
And Big Dave did warn them. He was like, "Yo, this dude right here, he's been kicked out of Madison Square Garden before. So like, maybe don't mess with him because, like Joakim, he's a little crazy."
It's skills. It's just a skills, man, dude. But they were good. They were fun, and they were good, and everybody around us was fun. And I love just when they were making that comeback, I'm just high fiving everybody around me, and it was just great feeling. Like you said, that energy, Matt. Like I haven't felt that energy in the UC in a very, very, very long time, and it was just great to be there to experience that and to have that opportunity to almost pull that out. Man, I was really proud of how they played, and I had so much fun, and it was great. It was just honestly a great time, and all the love for Joakim Noah. And the person, who I was most excited to see, because I didn't know he was there, man. When they showed Ben Gordon up on that screen, your boy, that's when I had my Joakim Nat moment right there. When I saw Ben, I jumped out of my seat. Yeah! I was so happy and excited to see him, man. But it was a great night. It really was. The Bulls did it right, man. So kudos to them for retiring one of the greatest Bulls ever.
It was just so much fun to be like, I went to their last preseason home game and there were a fair amount of fans there and they were into it and it was fun. But like, this was Bulls Knicks and it felt in that late, stages of the fourth quarter, like a playoff atmosphere. And just seeing the United Center that full with Bulls fans who were excited about their team again. And the fact that we got to, experience that and hang out with some people, not only Bulls fans, but fans of the pod. Like, shout out to Ryan and his wife, Shannon. Shout out to TJ. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to Braggs for Braggs in the stands. We saw him towards the end of the night. Like so many people who were, you and I were just hanging out at the pub, down in the 100 concourse before tip off. We're just like people come on up to us to be like, hey man, like love the pod, go Bulls. Like that was so cool because. Big Dave and I do this for our fellow fans, and the fact that we got to just be in the UC enjoying that atmosphere with our fellow Bulls fans. It was awesome, man.
Yeah, that part was amazing. Honestly, it really was. So many people came up to Matt and I to just want to take a picture or just tell us, how much they enjoyed the show. Tell us how much they miss John. Talk about the fingerless gloves.
Say My Love was intense last night.
It was intense. It was a thing. And it was crazy. Like before we left the Goose Island concourse, guy was going to his seat and he just was looking at me and he was like, "Who are you? Are you famous or something?" Like, and I was like, "I don't think I am." And I was like, "I'm just a guy." He was like, "I mean, everybody's over here around you and taking your pictures and stuff. Who are you?" And I was like, "Oh man, I just do a podcast and stuff with this guy." Oh, okay. And I was like, "You should listen to it." He said, "Nah." And he just walked off. And I said, "That was awesome." I just laughed so hard.
I'm good.
I'm all right. I'm good.
Podcasts are really my thing.
Right. He didn't seem like the demographic for it either, but I just honestly, man, it was great. Just all those people and all that love we got the entire game from the fans, man. It was mind blowing, because doing this, I don't think on that level. You know what I'm saying? Right. I really don't. It doesn't cross my mind. So when you guys show us that kind of love like that, man, it's humbling and it's very much appreciated.
Very, very much so. And I think Jason Tucker, I want to say Jason Tucker, who ended up being like seated like one row and a couple seats over behind us. It was like, hey, it's Matt and McGave.
It was my favorite one though, Matt. Real quick, my favorite one was the guy who came up to me and said, "Hey, are you Matt Peck?" I was like, "Yo, I like you."
I mean, that might be the best compliment I've ever gotten secondhand, is that someone mistook you for me.
Oh man, I loved it. So
I know you're one of those guys. Like you. Yeah, right. That's the no one would ever come up to me and say, "Hey, are you Big Dave?" Like, no way in hell.
You never know. That mistake. You never know, man. You never know. If they can make it with me, they can make it with you.
I give off such great Big Dave vibes,
He said, "Oh, that guy's pure Peck." When I see it, that's pure Peck right there, buddy. That's what that is.
Yeah. So shout out again to everybody for showing us love at the UC last night, and hopefully we can do that again throughout the season. We'll bring John next time. We'll tell him to bring his fingerless gloves. So the Bulls will look to bounce back, get another victory, and we'll look to do so without the services of one Patrick Williams. That's it for this week. Hope you all have a great weekend. Hopefully you don't subject yourself to watching the Bears, who are without Khalil Mack, against the Niners on Sunday. Have a happy Halloween. Have a safe Halloween. And we'll talk to y'all on Monday. That's Big Dave. I'm Matt. Thanks to the sponsors for today's show, McDonald's and Bet Online and Built Bar. Hit us up on Twitter, Bulls_Peck, Bow Sports, BAWL Sports. We are at Locked On Bulls. Until next week, see Red be good. Joakim forever.